Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Happy Sunday. I hope everybody is doing good. It's another Sunday, and I'm so excited to have my sister Ikwamua in the house. Today, we want to talk about something a little bit more different. We will still have the rest of our panel back in the coming weeks, and we will continue with our conversation that we've been having for the last few weeks because there's still a lot of things that are very educative that we can all learn a thing or two from. But today, we're here to talk about a trending story, really, that has been on the Ghanaian circles in the last week. I think I've seen there was 2 videos that was released, and it's a story that unfortunately doesn't have a happy ending. But I think there are lots of lessons to be learned from the story. Just to give it a bit of a background and for people to understand what's happened, there's a woman who's lost her husband and has 3 children back in Ghana and decides to seek greener pastures and ends up in the United States. This woman has 3 children, came to the States, but wasn't fully documented when she did. So when she arrived, she was using a friend of hers' papers, if you understand what that means, to work. She was working remotely in somebody else's home, looking after older citizens of the land, made a lot of money. Now, because she wasn't fully documented, it meant that all the monies that she got from working will be paid into her friend's account. This went on for time. She was able to amass about 70,000 US dollars in the friend's account. About $15,000 of this money was apparently used to buy land back in Ghana for her on her behalf by these friends of hers, because it was a woman and her husband. And then every month also, she got these people to send $300 back home to her mom to be able to look after the 3 children that she had left behind. She got to a place now where she felt she had enough money. And when she did her deductions, she had the 70,000 left in her friend's account. She could use part of that money to now, get fully documented and able to live and work in her own details and whatever and be comfortable. She goes to her friend's house and says, "Hey, friend, I think I have enough money now. I found somebody who's going to help me, get properly documented. So can I have my money back?" The friend starts giving excuses about not feeling well and how the doctor said she can't leave the house. She said, "Hey, you drive, but even if you can't drive, I can get Uber to take us to the place. You just go cash the money, hand it to me. We part ways and we're all happy." The woman wasn't wanting to do this or was reluctant to do so. So an argument ensued. Long story short, she got into her bathroom and started screaming, "Help, help, somebody come and help me," and texted her husband, who phoned the police. This woman didn't really know what to do. So unfortunately, she remained in the house. And when the security services arrived, it was concluded that she was the intruder because she didn't live there. So she was arrested and sent behind bars. Upon getting there, and whilst the processing and everything was going on, it's now fully clear that this woman was not even documented in the first place. So for her offenses of being an intruder in somebody's house, she was imprisoned for about a month to 5 weeks or so. And when they then handed her over to immigration, she pleaded, "I'm a widow, I've got 3 children. Please send me back. I need to see my children." They popped her on a plane and sent her back home. All this time, this woman, this so-called friend of hers, still refused to give her $70,000. So now she's gotten home, and if anybody has been through deportation, when they send you, you go back with nothing. Literally, the clothes you wore when you were arrested is what you end up in. So this friend of hers has still not sent the money. Times are hard. She's gone back with nothing. She's still got 3 children that need to be looked after. So she starts working in a chop bar If you know what a chopper is in Africa, washing plates in the back. She washed these plates, and one day, a few days ago, last week, I think this happened. Her youngest child was playing in school and had an injury. And so she was called from school. Hey, your last child has had an injury and she's bleeding profusely. You need to come to X hospital. Your child is bleeding. So she rushes off to that hospital. By the time she gets here to that hospital, she's told, oh no, she's been transferred to another hospital because the bleeding was that bad. And we just don't have the resources to treat her there. So we've referred her to a bigger hospital. This woman got in a taxi, got to the front of the hospital. It was just a big dual carriageway between her and the hospital. With all the things that have been happening to her, the money she lost and everything, her mind has not just been screwed on right. So when she got out of the cab, she didn't realize that there was a dual carriageway in front of her between her and the hospital. So she starts jaywalking, and the rest is history. The woman is now not with us anymore, and there are 3 kids that are now orphaned. So the big question that I have for all of you and for my sister Ikwamwa here is this: is seeking greener pastures abroad always the answer to the issues that we think we're facing in our lives? And are there better ways of doing things so that we don't end up in this kind of situation, which is tragic and unfortunate, but it happens? There's so many stories like this. Ikwamwa, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Sika. First of all, I just want to say good morning to everyone, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are or might be in the world. We just want to thank you and appreciate you for watching us. Continue to support Sika. Please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, share this with your friend. This can save someone's life. This could be a solution to someone's problem. Okay. So don't forget to share, subscribe to Sika's Educate YouTube channel, so that we can start producing exclusive contents there. So please, and then also don't forget to send Sika some stars so she can be paying for all the software that she's using for this program. Sika, the answer to this question is very tricky. And I think that most of the time, is it worth it to travel abroad or not to say greener pastures somewhere or not? I think it depends on your circumstance, right? And everyone needs to be able to take, I call it inventory of your life to see why you should travel. But one thing I will say right now is that if you want to travel abroad, you have to make sure that, unlike the other days, you have to make sure that at least you have up to high school level of education and that you're able to read, you're able to write, and you're able to use something as simple as a computer. Okay. Those are essential skills that you must have. If you even say, regardless of my circumstance, I still want to travel abroad, these are some of the things that you should be able to do on your own. Okay. But coming back to the story of our sister, could be our auntie, right? Could be our aunt, anybody, right?
Correct.
This can
Yes,
happen to anybody. Could happen
exactly.
to our brother,
Yes,
right? It could happen to anybody.
yes.
This is a tragic story, and my heart goes out to her children
Mm,
who are become the ultimate victim of a
yes,
choice that mommy made so many years ago, right? And it's
yes.
important that if we make the decision to travel abroad, that we are very intentional and
Mm,
we're very strategic about why we want to travel abroad, what for, and what are we ourselves bringing to
mm,
abroad. We shouldn't want to travel abroad because we feel like if we can only make it abroad. I honestly believe that once you are determined and you're forceful, you can succeed anywhere.
mm,
The only difference between abroad and other third world countries and the developed world is that in third world countries there are so many hindrances and the
yes,
lack of opportunity for people who are not privileged
yes,
is very, like, it's very, it's a lot,
yes.
right?
It's like,
So hence many reasons when people want to either Japan or
yes,
just want to leave, or in Ghana we say want to travel abroad, right?
yes,
One
Yes.
of the things that you have to know is that if you come abroad and then you lack the wisdom,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yesterday, somebody was saying that what we have to learn and assimilate and learn the system,
That's right.
right?
Yes.
Because sometimes people are so fixated
Yes.
on the many ways that they come to abroad that they have no idea the many other means that they can come abroad
That's
legally
right. That's
and
right.
safely,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So because of that, they go and people cheat them,
Mm-hmm.
people steal from them, and
Take
sometimes
advantage.
people take advantage of them,
That's
like
right. Yes.
human trafficking. Because really, what this woman has done was just domestic slavery that she did.
That's right. That's right.
She worked, somebody
Yes.
took her money,
That's
and
right.
then now she's left with nothing,
That's right.
right? But
Yes.
one of the things that people should know is that whatever you sow, you're going to reap it,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yes.
And it's important that we always understand that the principle of sowing and reaping is very real.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you
Yes.
sow good things, you reap good fruits. If you
That's
sow
right.
bad things, you reap bad fruits,
That's right.
right?
Yes.
Now, going to traveling abroad. If we
Mm-hmm.
want to travel abroad, we have to, as I said, we have to be very intentional.
That's
Okay.
right. Yes.
Right now, anybody listening to me, if you want to come abroad, there's regardless of which country you want to go to in the developed world, the best means to come is through education,
Mm.
and the other best means to come is through skilled what we call skilled work.
Yes.
Right? America, I
Yes.
think they call it H-1 2 visa or something
Yes.
in America,
Yes. Yes.
right? Or
Yes.
the America lottery system. Okay.
Correct. Yes.
Those are the better means for you to come abroad. And most of the time, people are just ignorant. Maybe you are a man, okay? You're not that well educated, but your wife is educated. Let your wife do the application for you
Yes.
guys,
Yes.
right? Because she can come you in and all of you guys can come together,
That's
right?
right. Yes.
Seek proper legal channels.
Mm.
Don't go and give. Sometimes last time I heard somebody, you pay 10,000 to walk to from Brazil to the US. Are you daft? That $10,000 you could have used it to pay for tuition in one of these schools here in Canada. There are schools here in very remote areas in Canada where the international tuition is like 7,000, 6,000, $8,000 one year for the whole year, right? Let us learn the proper ways in which we immigrate.
Mm.
Okay. It's an unfortunate for our sister that she came and she found herself in such situation,
Mm-hmm.
right? Learning the proper and legal way to immigrate is key.
Mm.
That way you don't come to the abroad and feel like you've wasted your life. You've wasted all because sometimes this one, I bet you she was jaywalking because you know what? She feels, how do you get back? Because
She's
when you are
lost her mind.
when you have been, you lose everything. And
Yeah.
considering this circumstance that she found herself in, maybe even all the things that she has, or all this while that she's been working, she probably never bought any proper clothes for herself.
No.
Probably never did anything for herself. So
No.
now she's back to square one. And one of the things that it's hard to do once you live abroad, it's hard to live back home
Yes.
because you have constant light, flow of water. These are basic things that you know when you wake up in the morning. Are you
Don't
thinking of where
think
I'm going to get
about
water
it.
to shower? You just get up, you jump in the shower, and water. The light is on, microwave is on, stove is on. Yes, you pay for it, but at the same time, in Ghana too, you pay for it, but even sometimes it's
Service is
hard to
not
get.
available. Yeah.
It's not available. That alone is a hindrance,
Yeah.
right? So now you have to deal with that stress where your gas is finished. Now you have to run around, go buy gas, and light is off. You have to go buy prepaid card. All those things, like especially when you've lived in North America. I would say I've been to Europe, but I always say like when you live in North America, you're just so spoiled,
That's right.
over spoiled.
Yes.
And then now moving from that environment into such environment in
Yes.
itself is hostile for herself.
Yes,
Now
ma'am.
coming to deal with her children,
Yes.
which I'm sure they were the reason why she traveled abroad.
That's
Now
right.
where's
Because
she
she's
gonna get
widowed.
money to pay for their
Yeah.
school fees?
That's right.
How is she now they're calling her that he's hurt himself? Where is she gonna get money to take her child to the hospital? Right? She's just confused. She's probably going through depression, right? Which, because it's a very big it's a very big thing.
Of
I
course.
personally know somebody who went through such situation, and it wasn't easy.
Mm,
It's not easy
mm,
because probably when you go now, you want to sell your land, but you're thinking about it. This land is the only thing I have to show for traveling to America all these years. How? And probably maybe who knows? The people she left her kids with, they probably did not take proper care of her children.
mm,
So now she's looking at all of these things, and she probably like her whole world is, the walls are closing in, right?
yeah.
So the decision for us to travel abroad to say greener pasture, number one, it has to be intentional.
Mm,
Number two, you have to take inventory of yourself to know, is this the right thing for me to do? Do
yes.
I have the skills, the basics? Like,
Mm,
what is the basics? Okay.
mm,
What
mm,
are my alternatives for traveling? Right.
mm,
And most people, I find it so funny. Most people, you travel abroad, okay, and you are stuck somewhere. Let's say you live in the US, you are educated, but you're finding it difficult for you to get your stay. The US is not the only place. There are other programs in other parts of the world that you can apply to.
mm,
Let us learn to do research. Let us learn to look for information.
mm.
Let us learn to put ourselves out there because we like to do. Let's go back to what Auntie has said. "Katasu mwamwaso."
Yes.
And as a result of that, knowledge is not flowing in our community. When
No.
you go to other communities, like let's talk about the East Asian. They know
Yeah,
every loophole in every
that's
immigration system in
yes.
the
And how to,
UK, in
yeah,
Canada, and in the US. So
and
when they
how
are
to use
coming,
it.
some people have relocated their whole village.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding, their
Mm,
whole village.
mm,
You're gonna go pay $10,000 to walk on the desert. Are you mad? To take boats that will end up capsizing if you're not lucky. Why are you putting your life at risk
mm,
when there are many, 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 many good ways where you can travel abroad?
mm,
Last time I was in an Uber because I had to drop my car to the dealership. And the guy, the Uber driver, I was talking to him. And then I found out that he immigrated to Canada as a baker,
mm-hmm.
as in bread maker. He knows,
Now.
he knows how to make brodo.
Mm, mm,
That's what he used to migrate to Canada as a
mm,
baker.
uh-huh.
Meanwhile, you are sending your son, your daughter, to some kolo man or woman who say they take people abroad. Why don't you pay? There are so many good legal counsel people in Ghana. You can pay the lawyers. Let them fill the funds for you. Pay that 10,000. Give it to them. Let them fill it out for
Mm,
you and wait patiently until the Canadian immigration will call you and say, hey, we need bakers. We are highly in need of plumbers. We are highly in need of electricians. We are highly in need of carpenters. Why don't you spend just $2,000 of that money, pay a legal somebody who is knowledgeable, let the person do the research for you, let them do the application for you, listen to them, follow the instructions, and come the legal way where you can come with your family. We don't want people. See, can we hear all the horrible story people have been sharing? Walking in the Brazilian forest, the Amazon forest, going through all those hoops and hoops to end up in refugee camps and end up on the streets. If you are trying to travel that way in the US, if anybody's US is the most hardest place to get your permanent residence or your permanent stay.
mm, mm,
It's
mm,
one of the most difficult countries. Always been like that.
mm.
Because when we talk about immigration, it's a very contentious
Issue.
debate. And
Yes.
there's so many undocumented people, millions of them
Yes.
living in America.
That's right.
Millions. There are people who have been there for 40 years with
Yeah.
no permanent stay.
Yeah.
So if you're not coming to the US through the legal means, don't bother. That money, don't waste it.
Hmm.
I know someone who was there with the husband. The husband has papers. She, up to today, and even me, I've known of them since what? 2010 up to today, the woman does not have papers.
Hmm. Hmm.
And you risk a lot.
Hmm.
She has American born kids,
Hmm.
and like the whole story is just horrible,
Hmm.
right? So if you want to travel abroad, that means where you travel is important. When you land, you have to be able to know all the rules, the laws, what's going to work for you. And if it's not working for you, don't stay there too long. Think about where else you can do. Maybe it will be like, you work, collect your money, and move back to Ghana before your visa expire or your stay expires, right? Don't be in a hurry. Don't listen. There's so many people. One of the things I realize, especially when it comes to our people, is that somebody will, I call them community lies.
Hmm.
Somebody will say, oh, because you don't have papers, when you get into, like, somebody even abuse you, because this woman, she could have called the police herself.
I know. I know.
She could have called the police and told them
Her story. The
that
truth.
she should have called the police. So you're listening to us and you are in such situation, you call the police, you go to the police station, you file a police report. How many of you guys know that in Canada, the police are not allowed to ask you what your status is? It's illegal in Canada for the police to ask you what your status is.
Hmm.
Okay?
Hmm.
So, and know in the US, there's places called sanctuary cities.
Hmm.
So if you don't know what a sanctuary city is, a sanctuary city is a city, or they also have sanctuary states. So states like California, states like New York, they're sanctuary states. So there, police are not allowed to ask you for your status.
Hmm.
So she could have gone to one of those states if she was not already living in one of those.
No, she wasn't.
Quietly file the police report and say, this is what has transpired.
Mm-hmm.
And the police themselves would have investigated, and that could have allowed her to even lead her to get in her stay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anytime anybody wants to intimidate you, abuse you, or do any evil towards you because you are undocumented or you do not have a stay, please, you should always reach out to your community groups. There are lots of immigrant community centers for women, for men, for young kids, right? For youth and adults. Go there. If you don't know how to speak English, they will get you an interpreter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? An
Mm-hmm.
interpreter will be there to help you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't allow anybody to use you.
Hmm.
Don't allow anybody to turn you into a slave. Okay. We are here to learn and unlearn.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
And for the sake of people who are going to be trafficked and who are continuously being trafficked, okay, I'm going to be translating this back into tree because this is very crucial and critical. This could have saved our sister's life. Okay. 80 asama me can say so wo abroche na so woni nkrata na so obi ene nkrata ma wo na wodi na nkrata ye adwuma na ni nti opese obu kwase a gya krataa ne yusu na hwehwɛ wobɛtumi ebi wɔ ha ɛyɛ asɔre ebi wɔ ne nyinaa ebi wɔ ha mbɛka sɛ bibi immigrant group wote bibi ɛka immigrant group ana organization a wokɔ hɔ a obi wɔ ha ɔbɛboa wo sɛ wakyɛ 10 years wakyɛ 5 years obi wɔ ha ɔbɛboa wo kɔ a na wonte borɔfo koraa na ɔmo wɔ nkɔfoɔ mbɛtumi afrɛ obi a wɔtitwi a ɔbɛtie w'asɛm na wɔde egu nkrataa so na wɔde akɔ aban anim mɛma obi enyusu ma obi mbo mɛma obi ɛnfa wo sika ɛsɛ wohu sɛ aburokyi ha no mmara wɔ ha wo a wonni paper wowɔ paper wonni paper ne nyinaa aban protectew aburokyi ɛnyɛ Ghana enti me sisters me brothers mumma money ɛnyɛ dɛ mumma money ɛnda hɔ okay mumma money nda hɔ because ɛyɛ very important asɛm a ato yɛ sister ɛyɛ asɛm a ɛyɛ awerɛho na mba ho a na ɛbɛhwɛ ɔmo right So it's important that we understand all of these things. And Sika, I'm going to pause here.
Thank you so much, my darling. In fact, when this video was first sent to me and I watched it, I cried. I was at work and I was in between things and I watched that first video and I was just covered in goosebumps and I just cried because I was just thinking how somebody would leave. She was a widow. She left her children with her mom and traveled and bum wiping. Can you imagine what that's like? Bum wiping, like you earn.
Sometimes you don't sleep. Oh. Sometimes they go there for weeks upon weeks and upon months. And then the thing is that this person also still gets to get money back. They still, so if they're getting paid 500 a day, that person gets a cut, at least 40 to 50% cuts. Okay. Then on top of it, if there's tax refund, because the US and Canada have the same tax refund system, the person will take the tax refund. So you are charging and you still want to keep the person's money. Abba.
Yeah, that was the very thing I was going to, because I know somebody, I actually know somebody. Two stories I would say here. The first person actually was a young lady. She didn't have any real skills. She went to high school and finished, but hey, with no good grades. She wasn't really the academic type. She didn't, and even with that, if she had used her entrepreneurial skills, at least she had some skills. She called her aunt and said this happened in England and said she wanted to come be with her aunt. And I said, oh yeah, no problem. And she took all that no problem as gospel, eh? So she bought a ticket, paid however much money to a connection man, got herself in, arrived in the country and everything. Now she got to the airport, Heathrow Airport, and was calling this auntie. Auntie has switched off her phone. None of auntie's numbers were working. Now, you know, in the airports, you have all kinds of people come to pick other people up from the airport. So there was this Ghanaian taxi driver. Had seen the young girl. As soon as he saw her, he knew he was one of them. So he went to drop off somebody, came back in, and she was still there loitering around, going back and forth. Amina, who are you looking for? This young lady felt, oh, she's hit the jackpot, so she cries her eyeballs out to this man. The man says, oh, no problem. I'm actually finishing my shift. Don't worry, I'll take you home. This man took this young girl home, gave her a place to stay, bathed, fed her, everything. She didn't know that that was the beginnings of being abused, you know, that way for a long time. So now this girl doesn't understand the system. She's been told that if she leaves the house, she's going to be in trouble. So now she's at home, doesn't step outside, doesn't talk to anybody. And she's just in that room. They were in a room in a house. She was just there, right? The man has to come back before she can cook. She has to cook for him. And then if she's lucky, she'll get some of the food to eat. This went on for the best part of 3 years. And he would slap her around, hit her and everything. As for the intimacy and the thing, that one was just like drinking water. Anytime he wanted, he could do for 3 years. Until one day she mustered the courage to leave the house when the man was at work and went out because she overheard some people speaking Twi. And that's how she broke free from that. But not without pregnancy too. So now her whole life is turned upside down with a man who was at least 15 years older than she was, who was married with children. Yeah. So this one was just being taken advantage of. Story number one. Number two, somebody came again like this sister and was doing this living thing. It's a very popular way of making money and hiding under the radar in the States. So a lot of people would do that. So he was doing this in a different state, very rednecky kind of state where people pay attention because very affluent people live there. He took very good care of the person that he was looking after. It was a Jewish man. He looked after him very well. So the family actually loved him, but they didn't know that he wasn't documented. So what had happened was the person that he was using his things to that same person went and told the security forces that he had actually stolen he was a friend of his who came to live with him, and he didn't know that he had stolen his thing and blah, blah, blah. So he was just sitting at home. It was a Sunday. He had called me. We had talked for long hours. They had gone with this old man he was looking after, he'd gone to buy food, and he'd introduced him to eating our Ghanaian food. So he had made fufu and grano soup and was feeding him, and he was enjoying the soup, and they were chatting. And then the bus arrived, armed with 12 immigration people. This guy was stripped in an orange robe like a criminal, with everything around him you can think about, and took to the detention center. There he also decided to tell his story and actually got a lawyer. He was lucky that he had family that were there and documented to support him too. So they paid monies, they got a lawyer. He was jailed for 2 months, but at least this has a happy ending. 20 years on, he's now documented fully. So this is just to buttress the point that my sister is making here, is that we've been brought to this part of the world to think that the police is your enemy. They're not. They're not. And even if this woman had been deported, at least she would have gotten her $70,000 back. Is that not $70,000 richer? She could have put up a house, put her kids through school, start up a business. Their whole lives would have had a completely different makeover. So this is just to buttress what my sister Ikuamwa is saying, is that the police is your friend. I actually love them. I talk to them. I don't shy away from them. Why should I? What have I done? I haven't done anything wrong. Right? And so if somebody wants to take advantage of you, there are people living here in Canada, in the States, in Europe today, as we're talking, who are being subjected to all manner of abuse. Women who are being penetrated anally and all those kinds of rubbish things, just because you've been led to believe that if you don't tolerate that, you're never going to be documented. Some people go through it for 20 years and are still not documented anyway. Now you don't have the documents and you are sick too. I can't think far. So please, it's not the end all and be all. And let's face it, it's not like when you come and you get here, it's a land flowing with milk and honey. Some of us are educated. We have everything. We still got here and we're still struggling. It's not like you just come and it's a bed of roses. And that's a story for another day, which we must tell on the back of what we talked about at our function yesterday. Kwama will have a platform for that. But for today, please, at least do it through the proper channels. A lot of people want to travel abroad, but you don't want to go and sit on a computer and research how to actually travel to the place yourself. Do you know how many emails I get every week? Please, I want to come and go to school in Canada. What should I do? I don't work for the immigration. I don't know. Go and research it yourself. That's why there's the internet. Go to the Canadian website for immigration and figure out what it is that the requirements are for coming, right? Don't just do things because everybody says you can just come abroad and you can just come abroad. My dear, this is how you get taken advantage of. So in this woman's case, was it a good idea? If she had stayed in her Ghana quietly, she would still be alive. Maybe she would have been struggling, but at least the children will not be traumatized without a mom to look after them now. What's going to happen to them? What fate do they really have right now? How hard things have become back there now. How hard things have become back there now. What are these kids going to do? Right? Ekuama, let me hand this over back to you.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the things that I really want us to really re-emphasize is that we want to travel abroad, but we always must know that traveling abroad has its own things, right? There's a lot of things, but the most important thing is that you should know why you are coming,
Yes.
what you're coming here to do,
Yes.
what your plans are in securing your stay.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just jump on the wagon and decide to come. Okay. And you also have to know, what do I have to offer? Because I think that is what most of us get it wrong. Okay. And then also, when you come abroad, the most important thing is that the first people you will encounter when you come abroad would make or break you.
Mm. Hmm.
If you come abroad and you go and hang out with people who are drunkards, you end up being a drunkard.
That's right.
So you have to be very, very, very careful, right? And you have to know, like, and I always say there are people who have traveled abroad. They don't have any form of formal education,
Mhm,
but because they hang out with the right people,
mhm,
they are way ahead in life.
mhm.
You could also have somebody who is well educated. They will come in and will hang out with the wrong crowd. And if you see them, you will not be able to tell the difference between them and somebody who has never stepped their feet in the classroom,
That's right.
right? Because the information is very, very what? Powerful. Information is very, very powerful. And as Sika said, if you want to travel abroad, all the information is on the internet.
Hmm.
If you because some people have time to go watch people on Facebook, insult
Yeah.
each other and
Yeah.
everything, but they don't have time to
Mm.
go to all the different websites, all the government websites. If you want to do US lottery, you don't need to pay someone. You
No.
go to DHS website,
Mm.
know when they are going to post it,
Mm.
enter your name,
Mm.
address, you are
Mm.
done. You can do that from your phone.
Mm.
Don't waste your data on unnecessary things.
Hmm.
Learn the proper ways and the proper channel where you can use to travel abroad.
Hmm.
Don't go and be paying
Hmm.
middlemen who are going to end up trafficking you,
Hmm.
middlemen who will not take your passport. And then now they say we'll travel to Togo. From Togo, we'll go to Benin. We'll go to from Benin, we'll go to Sokoto. From Sokoto, we'll walk from the Sokoto desert. As you're working on the desert, you see so many people whose life have been cut short. Right, to
Hmm.
take one boat,
Hmm.
you take one abroad, you take 6 months on the road. All of that money, you could use that, all of that money. If you're even that, just buy a computer with that money. Who load it up with data every day? Be watching or be typing. And if you don't know how to read, get someone to help you to read, to fill out all those forms. Everything is online. Everything. How can you work for somebody to take $70,000 of your money,
Hmm.
high-end cash, and say, I'm not giving you that money?
Hmm.
$70,000 for you to say $70,000 abroad.
Hmm.
Do you think it's easy?
Mm.
And some of the people who are working in these living places, they don't even have a place where they stay. And some of these living places, some of them, when you go, those homes are so dirty.
Mm.
They are so dirty.
Mm.
They're not livable. You can't
Mm.
even use the washroom. So
Nope.
you go through all of this hardship at the expense of your children for somebody to carry it away. It-
Hmm.
that is itself is really sad. Some people you go and then they traffic you.
Hmm.
You from one man to one woman to man to you go through all of that for what? Especially those living in places like Germany and
Holland.
the Netherlands, right? Don't allow anybody to traffic you. Call the police.
Hmm.
Go to the police station, right? And then also speaking to women, especially women, all those young girls in Nigeria, in Ghana, around Africa, all those men who are coming to back home that they look so fresh, they look so nice.
Hmm.
And I'm using our sister Naya's story as an example.
Good. Very good
Not
one.
every man that comes back home will be able to sponsor you when you come abroad for you to get your stay.
Hmm.
So please don't say the person is bugger or the person is from abroad. So you are going to go in full.
Hmm.
If you don't take time, he will bring you back and he will traffic you
Mm-hmm.
and disgrace you.
Mm-hmm.
Nayas, that money that she invested in Germany, she could have invested that money. She probably would have made more money if she had stayed in Ghana.
That's right.
So we have to be very careful
Hmm.
that people are going to take advantage of you. But when you travel abroad, abroad is one of those places whereby it's like being in a cruise ship. When you're in a cruise ship, if you don't take time, you will not know what is free and what is not. So you need to always be willing to ask a question. What can be done about my situation? Don't do kataso muamaso. Don't say if I tell my story to somebody, this one they may laugh at me or they may do this. Ask questions. Ask for help. Don't be shy. There are people who have information at their fingertip. Somebody who even just a high school student can give you information that can change your life.
That's right.
And always know you have your immigrant center. Go there. They cannot disclose your status to anybody.
No.
Don't be living abroad and let somebody take advantage of you. Okay? If you're in the US, they have sanctuary states, sanctuary cities. You know, I already said New York is a sanctuary state. California is a sanctuary state. So go there. You'll be able to get your driver's license. You'll be able to get mate and get your driver's license. You'll be able to now go get maybe a tracking license, or if you're a woman, you can get one of those licenses and you can start, doing Uber. Don't go and be doing living. Information is power. Seek information. Seek information. You can't go and then somebody will bring you go and be working, or you go and beg someone, the person, you go work in the person's salon, you do hair and the person will not pay you. Abba. Seek information. There are so many information out there. And one of the things I also want to say is that if, let's say, you travel abroad, maybe you landed in, let's say, Toronto. Toronto is not the only place in Canada. You should know that when you travel abroad and you go to the major cities, that major cities, there's so much traffic. So sometimes you're better off moving to the smaller towns where there's more opportunities or more ability for you to be able to even secure, because they want more people in the outskirts, in the smaller towns. So if you are doing your application there, you might be the only person claiming refugee there. So they are not going to waste resources and everything for your application. So they will just most likely going to approve it, because they don't have time to go bring a judge to come and meet you in some village in none of it. Right? So location. Don't go and sit in New York in Bronx, because all Ghanaians are in Bronx. Maybe Bronx is not where you're going to get your papers, because that place is already clustered. Right? So open yourself up, because sometimes in the US and in Canada, some churches are allowed to sponsor people. I know people who came from Eritrea who were sponsored by local churches here in Calgary. So the smaller towns and all those small places, you have more opportunities to get your landed. Don't go and be staying in Toronto with your brother or sister who has papers. Move to the outskirts. Seek your own way out of things. At least you've been able to come. Like that sister, you enter, you are stranded. You have to come. That's why you have to come. You have to be intentional. And especially those people, if you get visa, please, when you go to UK, don't be calling anybody, because nobody's going to pick up your phone.
Of course.
I know someone who was just going there for a visit with family members. They call phone, they don't pick. UK government deported her back. Right? So especially when you're going to Europe, don't use anybody, that your auntie, your uncle, don't use them as part of your plan. You're not part of your plan. You should have your own plan. You must have your own plan. That's why you have to think down and do research. If I have $10,000, where can I go that $10,000 will work for me? Don't go and pay money to work on the desert. Plan, be strategic, know what you offer, what you have to offer to the country you're going to. You know how to sew, you know how to braid hair, all of those things. Have you sat down, do it to the point whereby you are able to say you have graduated from learning how to do hair? Carpentry, has your your boss graduated you? All of those things. Plumber, has your boss graduated you? What do you have to offer to the country you are going to? Don't just show up because people are saying you can go and do living and you can make money and you don't worry, you can use someone's papers. They are going to turn you into a slave.
Hmm.
We
The
don't
sad
want.
reality, yeah. The sad reality is that a lot of these people too that you're talking about, especially that Naya story, this guy was living off welfare.
Exactly. And if somebody is on welfare, they cannot sponsor you.
Mm,
Okay? If
hmm,
somebody, especially all those, if you're a woman, you're listening to me.
hmm,
If you have a man or a husband or somebody bugger or a guy who lives abroad who is
hmm,
constantly coming and
hmm,
always coming, that is a sign. Or you can come impromptu and he's always showing up 4 or 5 times. That's a sign that that person, the likelihood they're going to be able to sponsor you is 50-50. Because anybody who has a job that is stable and has a stable job can only come at most once a year,
correct.
at most once a year, because
Correct.
no company will be allowing you to be jumping up and down every 3 months, every 4 months. So that's already a sign that that wagon you must not walk in,
Mhm,
right? You
mhm,
got to be very careful because it's easy for you to be stranded abroad
hmm,
and it's easy for people to take advantage of you. So be
mm,
strategic. And if you feel like people are taking advantage of you, there's so many diligent ways that you can go about it,
hmm,
right? Seek refuge in your immigrant center. There are so many around.
hmm,
Seek refuge there, go and talk to a counselor, right? When they take your story, they don't need to activate it. They won't take your story and go give it to the government.
no.
No, they are there to support you. As a woman, go there, go and seek refuge. Don't allow anybody, if you're a boy, a girl, whoever you are, nobody has authority over you. And
Hmm,
one of the things that we also need to know, people, if someone calls, just as Sika shared the story, somebody calls the police on you because you don't have, don't panic. Counter call the police yourself. You yourself call the police yourself as well. And then when they come, you say your own story as well. Don't run away. I see people they run and then after they fall off buildings. Don't do that.
hmm,
The police here, that's not what they are trained to do. They are trained to try. That's not what they are there for. You should always be calm, be still, and communicate. If you're not able to communicate, you say, "What? Can I please get interpreter? I don't know English." If you are in one of the European countries, just tell them, "I don't understand." Right? Most of them are taught English as well. So I don't understand. And then let them get you an interpreter. Don't let anybody traffic you. Don't let anybody look at this is so tragic.
it is.
And this is one of those things I call it's a preventable death.
That's
It's
right.
a preventable situation,
It
right?
is.
If you live in the US, she could have just gone to a small claims court in one of those sanctuary states and said, "This man, I have worked for this person as a consultant. They owe me 70,000. They've not paid me. They placed me in a home. They received a paycheck. All you have to do is prove 50% of your burden of proof.
Hmm.
They placed me in a home. They told me to work there, and they've refused to pay me.
Hmm.
And the judge will rule in your favor."
Of course.
There are laws, and people who are victimizing people, be careful,
Hmm.
because when they catch you in the US, they will charge you,
Uh-huh.
and your life will be more miserable than the person you want to take advantage of.
Yeah.
Be very careful.
Hmm.
There are so many legal ways where you can get people to work in your name. Do everything the right way and pay the person. Don't take advantage of people. And if you're in the US, you're struggling, especially if you're a woman, you have kids, you're struggling. If US is not working, you can always, there's so many other ways. Look for other countries. Look for other ways that you can travel, right? Because I know that the US, if you're a skilled labor, if let's say you finish university in the US, you've done your masters in the US, and your papers is a problem, you can still apply to come to Canada as a skilled labor. I know so many people who have done that. Before it even used to be just 4 months, you apply and boom, 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 you and your family, you all get landed. You just travel from US straight to Canada, even if you don't have a valid stay, right? There's so many means that you can come in different parts of the world. Don't be stranded. Don't allow people to take advantage of you, right?
Hmm.
Do it legally.
Hmm.
And you should. I mean, the whole situation is very sad,
Oh yeah.
and there's nothing that we know anybody can do,
No, she's good.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because anytime, and I'm talking to women, anytime you make a sacrifice, you must always make sure that the sacrifice you're making,
It's gonna be
is
worth
it long term and is it worth it, right? Don't make the sacrifice because you want to do it. No, you have to know who you are. What am I capable of? Is this really worth it for me and my next generation, me and my children, right? Don't just make the decision because, everybody is using somebody's thing, so me too. This is the culture, and the thing is that when you always go somewhere else, right? I'll share a story my friend shared with me. She went to UK,
it. Mm-hmm.
and when she was there, she's like, the person she was with stayed with, the person wants to go register her for cleaning. And the person woke her. So, when somebody does something, you're not even like processing it in your head, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he said the person woke her up at 4 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
saying, Sika, Sika, wake up, wake up. Where we got you the job, it's going to take you 1 hour and 30 minutes for you to get there. So you have to wake up now and start with going. Because initially the person said, okay, you're starting work at 6. So she too, like, I think 7 or something. So she thought like, maybe I wake up at 6, shower, and then so the person said, so why are you waking me up at this early? So no. You have to wake up now and get ready. It's like she just stretched herself and covered herself and said, me, I'm not going to do this job. This is not the reason why I came here, right? So you have to know. And true, she did better with herself. She got her master's. She got the job that she wants, right? So you have to know the reason why you are traveling where you are going. And just don't do everything, right? And this is like, here everybody cleaning is what we all doing.
Mm.
We're just doing that. This is what we all do to put food on our table, to pay our bills, and to do this. He said, no, this is not for me, right? So we need to understand, what are we looking for? Is it
Mm.
because everybody is doing this? Is that going to work for you?
Mm.
Right? You
Mm.
came home, you were in Ghana, you were a teacher, you came abroad, you are standing in the factory. Why? Why? You can do a 2-year diploma. 2-year diploma, 2-year diploma will get you something. It will take you somewhere, right? Don't settle for less.
Mm.
As long as you're educated, you're able to finish secondary school, you're able to finish university, don't settle.
Mm.
The sky is the limit. Don't let
Mm.
anybody take advantage of you.
Mm. It's sad. It's sad. It's sad. And on the back of this story, the same person who reported this story also said there was a similar story of a woman like that. And when she also went to get her money, guess what the person did?
Is it called a
She lured her into a shop. It's like, I'm using your documents, and then the time comes, I'm like, Kwama, can I have my money back? And then Kwama is like, oh, I was just going to the bay to go grab a few things, so come with me. And
Let me
whilst I
get she
was out,
shoplifted in her name.
thank you.
Oh yeah.
And she's also in jail facing
Yes.
deportation too.
Yeah. You go to jail and you face deportation. And the thing is that in such situation, stores have cameras. So you gotta fight, right? You have to have the fighting spirit. A lot of people come abroad and they lack the spirit to fight.
That's right.
They feel like they've been kneecapped. Who is kneecapping you? Especially if you're in America. America stands for liberty. The Statue of Liberty is there for a reason. The people who came and went to America, they went there because of freedom, liberty. Why are you allowing yourself to be kneecapped?
Mm.
Tell your story.
Mm-hmm.
Tell your story.
Mm-hmm.
Telling your story is very, very important. It's
Mm.
important that you always tell your story. If you
Mm.
can't speak English, let them give you an interpreter. It's your right. The person who stole $2 million, if he has ankle bracelets, how much more you, whose human rights is being violated? Tell your story.
Mm-hmm. If this woman had done that, those people who its documents she were, they would have rather been the people in trouble.
Of
They
course,
would have
because
had their money.
they what they are doing is
Illegal.
100% illegal.
Exactly. Exactly. It's very
It's
sad.
100% illegal because that is labor and slavery, which is abolished and is not allowed in America. And those people, they could themselves one day found themselves on that deportation rank as well.
Oh yeah.
Because if you live abroad and you're not born and you're there and you're a naturalized citizen, you should not be engaging in such things.
Exactly.
Be fair to your brother, be fair to your sister.
Yeah.
So many different ways. If you live in Europe and you want to come to North America, there are many ways that you can come, right? Canada has something called an ETA system for different people who live in different parts of Europe, where they can come to Canada and work without having papers and all these things. All these things are there. Don't let people take advantage of you. The internet is your friend.
Mm.
Google is your friend.
Mm.
YouTube is your friend.
Mm.
You know, Choco Millionaire is always giving good lessons out there. Go to
Mm.
his YouTube channel, sit there. Don't be sending him email. I want to travel abroad. What is that? The person is giving information. You sit down with your notebook. It's like going to a classroom. You sit down with your notebook and you listen to all the different scenarios, see where you find yourself, and then you go ahead with the instruction that's been given. Why are you sending me an email or a message asking, telling him you want to travel abroad? The person has provided you with information.
Hmm.
And even him, he goes into very deep details. He gives websites, he shares links. You have to follow. He has his family, he has his children. He's nice enough to give you free information. You will still not listen to the information he's giving, and you
No.
go to people for them to dupe you
Yes.
and risk your life walking on the deserts,
That's
in
right.
bushes in the forest. For what reason? Are you doubt?
Yeah. Because we have been, I don't know whether it's a training or a mindset, or I think it's an entitlement mindset that some people think that you want to travel abroad to better your life, but it's a Kuamwa's job, it's my job, it's Choco Millionaire's job to fix you up. Like, you want to go to school abroad, you want to go and work abroad. How is it like? You have to always ask yourself the question, how is it going to benefit somebody else to spend hours upon hours that you should be spending, because this is something that you want to better your own life. And I know that a lot of people are going to get up in arms and be upset about what I'm about to say, but it's God's honest truth. Okay? The Bible says that you have to speak the truth, and that truth sets you free. Okay? I left wherever I was before to come here. Nobody forced me to come. I wanted to come. And so when I wanted to come, I went to that very same website thing that Ikwama is telling you about, and I did the work. If you have to write an exam, you write the exam. If you have to fill out forms, you stay up and you fill out those forms. Why? Because it's something that you want to do for yourself. Don't go emailing Choco Millionaire or Ikwamwa or me or anybody else for that matter. We've all got things to do with our lives where we're also getting on with our lives, right? So if somebody has been kind enough to provide you with information, it's up to you to go out there and find the information and see how best it helps you. It's not enough for us to just think, somebody has to do everything for you. We've come to this place where we feel like people have to go buy the food, come home, peel the cassava, cook it, boil the plantain, pound the fufu, put soup on it, and even feed you so that you can be full. Like, I'm sorry, but it just doesn't, the world does not work like that. That entitlement mentality that we have as a people, it's got to go, because people are looking for information so much and they can't find it. But you're lucky. There's social media today, and people are into so many different things, right? Education right here is being presented to you. Do you even have the ability to listen? Or you want to come and tell me that you want to call me one on one, and you want me to leave what I'm doing for 6 hours to sit with you? Take the phone. What is your name? Then you write Ekuamua. How do you spell it? I ain't got time for that. Don't have time for that. Sorry, I don't. Right? So you have to help yourself. Heaven helps those who help themselves. You want the help? Help yourself. And if I see that you're actually helping yourself, then I'm more inclined to do something to support you if that's what you're wanting. But to not do anything and expect that Ekuamwa has time, Choco Millionaire has time, I have time, whoever else has time to help you, my darling, you'll be waiting a long time. That's just God's honest truth. Now, Ekuamwa, I know you ain't got time and we have to wrap this up. We're going to come back again and continue this conversation. I'm hoping that we can even actually get Choco Millionaire here at the time
Yes.
to have this conversation with
We
as
need to
well.
bring him on
Yes,
to
we
have
will.
this conversation,
We will.
because and as a bonus today, I have put in 2 immigration pilot programs that Canada is doing.
Mhm.
One is for people who live in Canada, who live in anywhere in the world who want to come to Canada. I
Mhm.
posted in Sika's chat.
Mhm.
And if you live in Europe, there I posted one too for people who live in Europe who want to maybe come and test Canada out and work. I posted that. And even with that, if you have children who are like they just finished university, especially those who are living in these Scandinavian countries where English is the language is a barrier for your
Right.
children, I encourage you to apply, let your children apply to these programs, okay? So they can come scout out Canada and see if Canada may be a better alternative for them instead of living in those places where they are facing barriers to career path and all those things.
Mhm.
Okay. So I posted in for our brothers and our mothers and brothers who have children who are in those Germany and all those places where your children are struggling to get a good career path, right? So those are just bonus things that we put in there for you. And really, to me, to end, the most important thing is let us seek knowledge.
Yes, right.
Let's seek information.
That's
Okay.
right.
And when you get information, especially if you're going to listen to somebody like Choco, you go, you listen, he has his own life to live. And even him, he's going extra miles
Mm.
by, showing you all this information, how to apply for job. Like he's going into so much details. So at the end of the day, you have to invest the time to sit down, listen to the information he's given,
Mhm.
process it, and
Mhm.
stop giving your money to connection men.
Mhm.
Stop giving your money to all these what do you call them? All these hustlers that
Mm.
are taking your money and
Mm.
eating it.
Mm.
Okay? Seek information, seek knowledge, and use the knowledge to empower yourself, because that's there's a reason why they say knowledge is power. And
Mm.
without power is the ability to what? To do work, right? So let us seek information. We don't want to be a victim, and let us so that we can be able to prevent this tragic story that has happened to our sister. Okay. Her children are now left behind. Who is going to take care of those children?
Mm.
Who is going to put food on the table? Who's
Mm.
going to make sure they have a better education? The
Mm.
dream that their mom has, who is going to make sure that that dream stays alive? And
Mm.
that's all I'm going to say to end.
Thank you so much, my darling. Please type in your website. My sister has a non-profit organization that is really high on promoting STEM education, STEM being science, technology, engineering, and mathematical projects or programs, education in that kind of area for the youth, right? The youth are out tomorrow. If you've got children and you want your children to be able to compete in an ever, competitive world, because everything now is all about technology, technology, technology. Unfortunately, the people that look like you and I are the ones that are lagging behind in this whole technology world. Caucasians, the East Asians, the Chinese, they're getting out there. They're doing big things in their lives. What are we doing? We're just sitting around watching insult and abuse and all those things on social media that does not bring or add anything to your life. People think it's funny, but it's not, right? And so we're being left behind. Our kids are getting into all kinds of unnecessary things. So my sister is very passionate about the youth, especially the boys, as we came to find out yesterday, that live in the Western countries. They're not making anything of their lives, right? So if you have children, young children, that you want to be able to compete tomorrow, who knows? Maybe they'll be the next Elon Musk, making big things, or the next Mark Zuckerberg. Who knows? You never know. Get your children involved in these kinds of programs and promote science, technology, and engineering, mathematics. And yesterday, we are also thinking of now adding art so that nobody is left out of the whole thing.
Yes. Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. You know what is so funny though, because yesterday that was just a reminder because last summer when we ran our STEM workshop, the first day we actually started, because I really was not even, I never thought art was part. And the instructor, I don't know if you met her yesterday, Valerie, she started them off with arts. She wanted them to draw. Because she made me go all this art supply. I was like, what am I going to use this art supply for? And the first day, she told them they have to draw down the ideas. And I was like, wow, I never really thought about it. So it was actually very, very interesting when Dr. Charles mentioned that yesterday. It really made me remember during that workshop. Yes, so we are adding art. So art now is going to be part now. I'm like, oh
Yes.
God, yes.
So it's now STEAM, not
So
STEM.
now it's like by force, I'll add to it. So yes, I'm pretty excited about that. Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So we're promoting that. So please, 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 if you want to support the program, maybe you're not in Canada, but you still want to support us, do that, because the youth are tomorrow. We want to look back when we're old ladies and gentlemen drinking our tea in the afternoon, that we created a generation that we're leaving behind that we can be proud of. If you want to donate or support this, my sister has kindly put her website there. Please support, pray for us, but we want money. We want to see the big Benjamins in your support of a worthy cause, and the heavens will bless. I hope you saw the pictures and the video that we did yesterday. Oh, it was buzzing. It was really exciting, and I was so blessed to be a part of it. I met some absolutely amazing people. Okay, so support a worthy cause. Help your children to become people that you can actually be proud of to talk about. Okay. Now, the other thing that I wanted to say before I let my sister go is that everything that has been shared today, if you haven't heard the video, maybe go back and watch it again. But please, 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 whatever you do, don't allow anybody to take advantage of you just because you're not able to, or you're in a position where you're feeling vulnerable. The police are still your friend. If you have to go, you're being given the permission to fall out. Okay, so please do what needs to happen. Tap Send is the latest app that is out there that everybody is using to send their remittances to their loved ones back home. Okay, if you haven't downloaded it on your Android or your Apple phone from the Play stores, you've missed out. Download the app, use the promo code AKUSIKA, right? And this is just for your first transaction. If this is the first time you're using that app, to get the extra bonuses that you can send to your loved ones. So if you're sending money, you get extras that you can send. If you live in the States or in Canada, it's $15 extra. If you're in Britain, it's £5. If you live in the rest of Europe, it's €5. Okay, if you're looking to sit and have one-to-one personal conversations and figure out what you're doing with your own self, anything personal development, from emotional stuff that you're going through that you've never been able to talk about, but now for once you want to get rid of that, or there's something with your own career that you're trying to figure out, how are you going to make this happen, or there any personal development issues that you have that you need to deal with, my love, www.sikaeducates.com. Go there, book yourself a session. Come, let's sit down one-on-one and have the conversation. And you never know, we would have a roadmap set out for you about what you need to do to move yourself from where you are now to the next place that you want to be. And I've put the website in the chats here for those of you who want to go ahead and book yourself a place. Okay? So I love you all so much. I am so pleased, excited, and honored really to have you all here. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. Otherwise, tonight I'll visit you in your dreams, and you don't want me to do that, do you? So God bless you all for being here. Thank you so, so much for everything that you have done. Take care of yourself. Have a fabulous week ahead, and may the heavens bless everything that you touch. I love you so much. Mwah. Bye. I love you all.